wider community. Freudian slip down here. Freudian, I promise you. Okay, so what strategies do you currently employ? Any bullet point? Off you go. Talk. Off you go. Get some bullet points out. Can I ask you? Can I ask you about
basically, so they're welcome into any community. We're trying to make sure that it's not during the dress time, which has always been an issue for children. They often time so they can play.
Well, we've got
yeah, and you've got to run it exactly a lot of transport.
Get something down on paper. Get something down on paper.
So yeah, making it local. That's a good point. Yeah, because they love to play. How they get together, lots of cars.
This is soft comes from the whole so every half term there's an activity with the Gloucester coaches. Girls football, our normal training session, which I'm not about.
That way. Ivy, drama, that way.
The rest of my UK.
Guys, just make sure you sign the register as well.
Right, okay, now you've got some points down. Here's what I'd like you to do. Every point that you've made, I'd like you to think about a relationship that you need to build with that point that you've made. So, for example, if it is madrasa, which some have got, okay, would it be the local imam? So, local imam would be the relationship that you need to build. What does that look like? Okay. So, now, every point that you've made, I want you to think about a relationship that you need to build to make that come alive. Off you go. Have a look at the points.
Basically in Gloucestershire. How we are, different communities live in different boards, it just goes about it. So kids in Hardwick are like not going to play for Hardwick, they'll go out and go out and go. Very rarely you might get
got Rasmus, we're trying.
So you know what we've always tried, Rising Stars, is jogging kids who haven't had the opportunity to spend who probably haven't got the parents to take them to the games after school and stuff like that. So obviously we don't expect, I mean, let's be honest about it, people will play in their own wards. It's only recently when we had Abimir and Quentin over where people have been attracted to them and they take a lot of players from different areas.
We need some relationships now, Dan. Thank you.
What it is, unfortunately, is regional. So in terms of our area, we just started
from other schools in the make it more,
a lot of this is
especially, but then we need more coaches. There's things that come up to too many children, and then the space could go.
This is what I'm saying is this is Gloucester. So Gloucester's different. The kids from this area will say different things.
Exactly, yeah. It's a transition. Yeah, that's the big
Okay, here's what I want you to do now. Just swap the papers over, have a look at somebody else's, just pass them over. If you've got a relationship next to them, that's great. And then once they've just wandered round, just make sure that if you go that way, and you pick that one. Good. Just have a look, see if they're the same things that you've looked at as well. Just have a look, have a quick look, see if there's any difference. you've had a quick look, can we just make sure that we go around one more time? So I think that you probably want to see this one here. That could go that way, couldn't it? Yeah, and then we'll go back to our originals. I just want to leave, I want you to think about it, because I think the most important thing is sometimes, okay, we're actually got an awful lot of good projects going, but they're in isolation, and others don't actually know about those projects. I think it's really important, okay, that it's a key word, and it's called collaboration. Understanding that regardless of what ward you might be in, and I know also that we can become, you know, as communities, they can be quite insular as well. And I think that the key point that I really want to talk about is that narrative that's currently being peddled around about certain communities, and what a negative effect that might have on just relationships. And I think that if you're going to build those relationships, I think there's some key words that we need to consider. One of them would be integrity. The other one would be a little bit of trust. And then finally, if you have that trust, you'll gain some confidence from those communities as well. And that can come in a number of ways. But I think a lot of the outreach projects that are coming out of their own wards around the country are the ones that are most effective. Because all of a sudden now, there's groups, for example, in Whitechapel in East London, who are now going out into Islington and in North London to predominantly white communities and actually playing football against them and realising, okay, that guess what? That as much as we might have some differences, we've got an awful lot more in common. And those commonalities are really critical. So the point of the exercise is simple. You've got to be brave, you've got to take a risk, and you've got to be prepared to go out there out of your comfort zone. Because I know that just like other areas, Mo was telling me about how wards are kind of predominantly drawing in from their own wards. And what you've got to ask yourself is, how can you widen that net? Because that is effective engagement. I'm really conscious of time, but I am conscious. I want to hear what your thoughts on that as well.
I'd say go on with that. The other thing is that all kids want to play football. Boys and girls, they all want to play and they all want the opportunities. So it isn't that, you know, there isn't a community out there saying, oh, we're not footballers. They all want it, all the kids want to play.
Yeah. So it can't be about what I call the 4 Fs. Festivals, flags, fashion, food. It's not about that. That we know, okay? And we celebrate that diversity, and that's fantastic. It's got to be a lot more meaningful, and it's got to be a project that's got longevity, it's got legs, and it moves forward. That's critical. And for that, you need somebody that's going to be around for a while and is prepared to put the hard yards in. So, once you've built that relationship, once you've understood where it goes, now what you really are going to think about is, what can we build around, how can we build this? So we've got a structure at the England, and we call it the England DNA. We've got 5 key hexagons to it. I'm really conscious of the time, okay? So I'm going to run through them, and then I know the kids are waiting, and I know they want to play some football. I know you guys want to see that as well, okay? So we are going to get out there after. I'll just run through just a few of these. So how does the England DNA work for you in a multicultural setting in particular, okay? Who knows any of those 5 hexagons that we run in the England DNA? The marks that you gave yourselves now, because we're gonna hopefully increase your knowledge in a minute. Any of those hexagons, do you think you know?
Creative.
All right, okay, yeah, that would be something that's involved within the DNA. So there they are. There's 5 of them, and we base it on those 5 key core elements. The first one is who we are. So you know, as an England football, as a nation, historically, when we think about where we have been and where we are now, we understand that we have got a history, and we've got a history that we look back on more than look forward. Now, with the DNA, we're hoping that we can look the other way this time, because we've had 51 years of her, but we've also got an idea now of who we are. The how we play is based around 3 key areas, and it's basically in the game as well. What happens in the game? What happens in the game?
You either got the ball, you haven't.
Yeah, so in possession, out of possession, and transition.
It's a philosophy.
Absolutely. So we have a philosophy on what we do when we've got it. How do we react as soon as we lose it? What does it look like when we haven't got it? And how do we react as soon as we win it? So that's how we play. The England player is based around the long-term development plan, 4 key areas. Does anyone know those 4 corners that we talk about, anyone who's done their level 1s? Technical, social, psychological, and physical. Yeah. Now, how we coach looks at the coaching fundamentals. So we have 12 coaching fundamentals. I will run through them, but I know that they're going to be out there. So I'm going to stop on after we do how we support. We're going to get out there, then I'll reinforce all these slides a little later on. But the how we coach is really around not only the coaching fundamentals, okay, but it's also about what our coaching intervention strategies look like, and also what our coaching styles look like. And finally, how we support. What do you think that might be, how we support? Hang on. How do you think we support our England team at the moment? Is it just they rock up and train, or what's the sports science behind it as well? Yeah. Absolutely. So we have a number of specialists now, to the point where we even have now specialists for different areas of the game as well. So that support mechanism is there now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually transfer all those 5 into what it looks like for us on the ground with grassroots. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go back to how we play. Because I'm going to go out there now and we're going to put a little session on. It's called Dribblers Against Passers. I don't know how many kids we've got out there.
Oh, God, loads.
Really?
There's quite a few, yeah.
Okay, no, it's not.
16.
16. 18.
Half of them were just here to watch.
Oh,
We
okay,
just
cool.
like brothers and sisters.
Yeah, good stuff, right, okay. Cheers. Thanks, set me out there. I'm going to work on an in-possession practice. It's called Dribblers Against Passers, alright? It's going to work on 2 technical components, the dribbling and the passing. I'm going to start with a little warm-up, in which I'm just going to get them thinking about it, okay? But the most important thing for me is that when I go out there, just look at some of the images that I give them, because they're not going to be regular English players. Because we're working in a multicultural setting. So I've picked 3 key players that I'm going to be looking at today. Adil Nabi, played at West Brom, now currently at Peterborough, played for England 12 times at 15, 16, 17. Issa Suleiman, who's now currently at Aston Villa, playing for the under-19s at the moment in the Euros, and has had already an outstanding career. But the real superstar, Jan Danda, currently at Liverpool, £200,000 from West Brom, okay, flying, plays in the 10, so he's my forward, Adil's my other forward, and Issa's going to be my defender. I'm going to show them those images. And then when they see those images, do you think they recognise them? I hope so. And if they don't, okay, wow, what a powerful message that is sending out. Because they've all got their England shirts on as well. Should we go out there and have some fun? Sorry you can't play.